Welcome to Inside Tulsa Athletics. On our show today, we'll feature the volleyball coaches from Rogers, East Central, Booker T, and Memorial. Steve Friebus, the sports medicine coordinator, Marlon Houston, the assistant athletic director, Krystel Markwardt, the deputy director, and Mick Wilson, the executive director of athletics, will join us. Raymond Ships, the athletic director at Edison, will also be on the show with us today. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Raymond Ships from Edison Eagles. Welcome back to our first edition this year of the Inside Tulsa Athletics, and our first guest in 2023, Raymond Ships, the Director of Athletics, Edison Eagles. Raymond, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Gil.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's another year getting ready to start.
Definitely. New year, new changes, a lot of new faces at Edison High School.
Now, you don't have a lot to do you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I don't think it's enough time in my day, Gil.
Well, you got 24 hours.
Well, I'm using 23 hours and 30 minutes of it.
You know, I told the president one time when I was at the college level, I was in his office, and I said, Mr. President, you ought to come on and work in athletics. We only work half days. You just figure out which 12 you want to work.
That's a true statement.
It is a true statement.
It's a true statement.
Yeah, which 12 do you want to work? Tell us about Edison. You've been athletic director 2 different times, and we're glad that you're back. I think it's going to be because you really care about Edison.
Yes.
I think you've done a really good job with that. But where are you now in your program? And tell us about some new things that you have.
Well, this year we're starting off with like 3 new coaches. We have a new basketball coach, we have a new wrestling coach, and we have girls soccer coach. Well, other than that, we're status quo. I'm happy with our coaching staff. I think we have the best coaching staff I've seen at Edison since I've been a part of it.
Really? That's fantastic. Who are some of the new coaches?
Well, we hired Mark O'Harris, who used to be on the staff with Conzo Martin at Missouri, Tennessee, and Cal. He come back home. You know, he was Shea Seals' assistant at Booker T before he left and went off to the Division I level. Mm-hmm. He's now our boys basketball coach. We picked up Bobby Lasser to move over to replace Harper as the wrestling coach, yeah. And we have a guy named Roosevelt Peters as our girls soccer coach.
Oh, well, that's good. I know Bobby really well. He's been a staple in wrestling in Tulsa for years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He really has. So, well, that's fantastic. Facility-wise, how are you?
Great. We just Mick and the great district staff purchased us a new backstop for our baseball field, which will improve it as well. Everything else, new scoreboard at La Fortune. I mean, it's state of the art. Everything's looking up for us.
Good. How is you still got that travel over to La Fortune for home games?
Yes, it's I can't complain.
Yeah.
We're used to it now. You know, the district's taking care of the facilities. I have no complaints about where we play our football games at.
Your turf practice field holding up well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Really well.
And you've got the softball field right there, and of course your baseball field, everything.
Everything as well.
Tennis courts. All our sports. You know, I have no complaints about the way we're being treated, the way we're being taken care of, and it shows. In last year when we finished the year, we had like over 2/3 of our programs make state playoffs. Oh, geez, that's good.
So we had a really good year athletically, and it's because of the support that we get from the district and our administrators in our building.
How many student athletes do you have at Edison?
We have student athletes. I would roughly say we have about 300 of them. Yeah, we have a high number.
High school and middle school, or just high school?
That's high school. Uh-huh. Middle school. I couldn't tell you the number off the top of my head, but we run 12 sports out of the 13.
Oh,
the only sport we don't have in middle school is golf.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's fantastic. That speaks well to your feeder program.
Correct,
obviously.
correct. And it helps us out a lot.
Yeah, you've got to have that. What else do you want to tell us about Edison?
Well, looking forward to this year. Football, our numbers are high. We have 75
that's good.
kids out for football, and talent level is right where it needs to be. Of course, cross country is trucking along. They made the state last year. I'm looking forward to seeing them make it again this year. Softball is improving. You know, we can finally say we're starting to pick up our stride in softball. This new district that we're playing with Oklahoma City, where we play people on our level, public schools wise, where we travel across the state half of the year and they come over half the other half, and we play against each other, and we have our own little end of the season state playoff games. So it's good for our kids, gives them an opportunity to see success after the end of the hard work that they put on the practice field.
You know, that is the Bill Snyder philosophy, the K-State football coach. When he took the job at Kansas State years ago, he had his administrative assistant, I want you to find the 10 worst football schools in Division I. And so the administrative assistant came back and he said, well, what do you want to do with this? He said, I want to schedule them because I want to win our first 3 games every year so that we know we can win.
Yes.
And when we get into the regular season in the Big 12, we'll have some confidence. And I think that breeds a lot of improvement in the program.
And kids see success, that makes them just that more
and want to be a part of it.
That's right.
Yeah, want to be a part of it. Well, Raymond, thanks for being here today. It looks like you got a great year ahead of you. And I hope to get by the gymnasium and watch you guys play some this year. I'd be excited.
Well, you know we always have a good seat in the house for you, Gil.
You do have a good seat for me on the floor.
That's right.
I appreciate it, Raymond. And when we come back, we'll have Audra Estrada, who is the head volleyball coach at Memorial High School.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right, only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, and now we have the head volleyball coach of the Memorial Charter, Audra Estrada. Audra, another year starts, and we're excited, of course, to get into this academic athletic season. How many years have you been at Memorial?
Well, I'm starting my 9th season as head volleyball coach at Memorial, and it's a great place to be. I love being a Charger, and it's just became home, and I feel like hopefully it'll stick around a few more years.
There you go, yeah. There's that esprit de corps, it seemed like, in that Memorial group. You have a lot of people on staff that went to school at Memorial and come back and want to coach there. And so as you look at your 23 season, what do you look for? You get returning starters and so on. Are you excited about this year?
Oh, I'm so excited to be coaching this year. I think it's safe to say this might be the most talented team I've ever coached, just from observing our summer league and preseason. I have a lot of athletes. I have more players than I've ever had that play volleyball all year round. And I'm just excited to coach them this year. They're a good group of kids. They're competitors. They might be a little too competitive sometimes. I got to tell them tone it down sometimes, but I love the fight that they have, and I'm excited to be coaching them.
Well, you know, you've your 9th year in the program. Obviously, you got your program established, and it's set up that way. Talk about some of your returners, some of your people who are going to be your leaders.
Right. So my libero, sometimes she sets for me. Her name is Lane Dennis, and she's a senior this year. She moved in last year and immediately was a starter and a team leader, and we basically rotate around her, and she's a good kid and has a lot of experience as far as volleyball goes, and has really helped some of the kids that maybe don't play all year round. She's They can learn a lot by watching her. I also have a sophomore named Brenda Carter, who's my outside hitter, and I think she's one of the best outside hitters in the entire conference. She's very athletic. She hits that ball hard. And then I have a move-in. Her dad's actually our head basketball coach, and that's Matea Hall. And she's come in and really fits in well with our team, and she's going to be one of our key players as well.
Good. That's excellent. As you get ready to start the season, now you start this week, huh?
Yeah, we start tonight.
Oh,
yeah, you guys make us come in and
sure.
do interviews on opening day.
Well,
I don't have enough anxiety.
That's part of coaching.
I know, I love it.
That's the deal. As you, who do you play tonight?
We play Edison. So on top of that, it's a school rivalry, and we're gonna go in there ready to fight.
The old Southside Classic, right there.
Yes,
You bet.
yes, I'm excited for it.
And they've been pretty good.
Oh yeah, they're always good.
Yeah.
Coach Merrill always has done well with them.
Right.
This year, I hope it's better competition. Sometimes we go into an Edison game and they beat us in 3 games, but I'm hoping to put up a fight with them this year.
You play at home or away?
We play away, so we'll play at Edison tonight.
Edison. Okay, well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's good to have those rivalries, and interesting to start the season with it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Who in your district do you have to beat to be able to get to the playoffs?
Well, in volleyball, everyone makes it to the playoffs, and it just, you rely on your record and rankings to get the best regional you can get in to make it further in the playoffs than you want. It's hard to make it to state in volleyball. Everything's single elimination once you get to regional and playoffs, but I'm hoping to get a lot of wins this season so that my team can be ranked at least top 16 so that we have a better seed and a better chance of going to state this year.
Who are some of the teams on this side that you would have to go against?
On my schedule, we have Pryor, Edison, we play Shawnee, Tahlequah, Claremore. And we're in the Claremore tournament where we're going to face off against some other 5A teams like Sapulpa. So those are some teams that I'd like to compete with and get a win with.
Sure. Sapulpa's a big 5A.
Oh, yeah.
They've been in 6A.
Yeah.
It's interesting. 5A is really a competitive in all sports, I think, because of that. So as you look forward to how is your feeder program? How is the kids coming from junior high into your program?
Right, they come from Memorial Middle School. Sometimes I get some Thoreau kids. Middle school, it's okay. I know they've transitioned to a lot of new coaches, but whenever I can, I'd like to check out the middle school games. It's hard whenever we're all in season at the same time. So
it is.
It's a volleyball game every single day, which is great, and I love it. But the girls that came up from the middle school this year are doing really well, and they'll be good players for me in the future.
Excellent. Well, good luck. You get the Southside Classic tonight, and hopefully that will go your way. And of course, now when Lauren is here, I'll have to say the same thing to her.
I figured.
You know? But we hope to have you back sometime during the year and talk about where you are as we get ready to go to the playoffs.
Thank you, Gil. Thanks for having me.
You bet. When we come back, we'll have Taylen Nero, the head volleyball coach at Booker T.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field, and that it's the littlest things that will make all the difference in the long run.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with, not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. And now we have the head volleyball coach of the Booker T. Washington Hornets, Taylen Nero. Taylen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Busy
Thank you.
morning this morning.
A busy morning, yes. I actually just came from practice.
Just came from practice. Well, that's good.
Yep,
You
we
need
are
to
getting
practice.
ready. Yes, we do need practice for sure.
How long have you been at Booker T?
So this is actually my second year as the head volleyball coach there.
I see.
Yes.
Right.
I did attend there though, so it's
Oh,
not
you
my
did?
first rodeo with Booker T.
Well, and
but
it's good. It's good to go back home.
it's always good back home.
It's
Yes.
always good to go back home.
Yes.
As you look at your year this year, and you had put in last year, the first year as the head coach. How do you look at the program? Where are you right now, and the things that you want to achieve?
Yeah, so right now we are actually in a great position. We just found out we're 5A, so that's amazing. As far as we graduated 3 seniors last year, so our team was pretty young. So we have a lot of returners. We have 4 seniors now, and so outside of that, though, most of our program are freshmen and sophomores, and we have maybe 3 juniors. So we're really young still, and we're definitely in a good place as far as like growth, and the girls obviously with getting older and things like that, the experience is there, and so we've been having a lot of fun.
Is your numbers where you can have a JV team?
Yes, so we do have a freshman JV and varsity team, and the rosters are full on all 3 of those teams.
That's
so,
fantastic.
Yeah, the retention as far as like the girls coming and new girls, filling that freshman team was pretty easy last year and this year. So
you get a lot of from your feeder at Carver?
We do get a lot of Carver girls. Actually, half of our freshman team came from Carver.
I see.
So that's great. Yeah.
Well, the feeder program is always critical. The young kids getting started playing with a
Extremely.
positive experience and so on. So as you move through this with a younger team, but moving to 5A, how do you look at that?
So my girls, I'm trying to explain to them how amazing that is. But just playing volleyball for so long and being a part of it, I understand how amazing that actually is for a smaller former 6A school. So we get to keep our 6A conference schedule because it was already made before that move happened. So we'll face some tougher competition throughout the season, and then that'll prepare us though for the end of the year when it comes to the regional and state tournaments.
It really will. I think you play that difficult situation. One year I was a head wrestling coach. I'd never wrestled a match in my life. But I got the job to be defensive coordinator and head wrestling coach. So I went and scheduled the toughest people I could schedule in wrestling because it was a brand new program. Kids had never wrestled ever.
Wow.
We were 4-4 the first year. We went 6-2 the next year. But what we did by wrestling those tough kids, they figured out what they had to do to get better, to get to that next level. Playing in the Frontier Conference in volleyball will be immeasurable as you go into a 5A region.
For sure. I've been explaining to the girls that just, seeing that tougher volleyball, it will prepare you for, the long run, and getting spiked down your throat, what I call it, when they hit the 10-foot line and things like that, it'll create just a different want, a different drive to want to be competitive and succeed,
What else do you say you're going to Burroughs, you said?
Yes, I'll be at Burroughs Elementary School this year. I'll be teaching 3rd grade.
3rd grade?
Yeah, and so I'm super, super excited about that. My whole life I've always said, I want to be a teacher, and I kind of veered away from that when I got to college and a little bit after college, and I was finally like, you know what, why don't I go back? I really feel like I'm called, and a part of my purpose is just giving back to the youth, and I'm like, a part of that is teaching, it's one heck of a job, but I'm up for it.
Well, it's every day, and when those kids come in there, if you do your job right, they're thirsting for what you can give them every single day, and I think that's what motivated me. The first year I taught, I had in the front row, first chair, a 38-year-old lady.
Oh, wow.
And I'm 22. And I'm thinking, I'm teaching history? Well, she is history. My goodness. I was more prepared for that class every day because of this older person being in there. But I felt like I owed it to them, to do a good job.
Be prepared,
Well, as you look at your teams to beat, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a little bit different in 5A. Who do you think will be your competition?
Now, you know, I'm excited about 5A, but of course we match up a little bit better with a lot of those teams in 5A. So I'm not at all, by all means, saying it'll be a cakewalk at all,
yeah,
you
sure,
know.
Sure.
So a lot of those teams, like, we'll see Victory, and that'll be tough. Lincoln, we saw a few of them last Wednesday in our, we went to a Jinx scrimmage and played there, and we saw quite a few 5A teams. We played Coweta. We didn't get to see Collinsville, but I would have loved that. But there's quite a few of them there. Mount St. Mary's was originally in 5A, and they've now moved to 6A. Thank God.
So is Kelly.
So actually, they are in 6A.
Yeah, they moved up to 6A.
So they're in
Yeah,
6A, and that's another one that I'm like, bye-bye.
Absolutely, you bet. Well, that's
so Mount
fantastic.
St. Mary and Bishop Kelly are both gone, so that actually gives us more of an
helps in
advantage.
5A,
Yes, it does.
Well, Taylen, thank you for coming today, and good luck
course.
this year. And
Thank
hopefully
you
we'll
so
have you toward the
much.
end of the season when we
Yes.
get to the playoffs.
Oh, we will be at state.
Excellent, excellent. You heard it right here. When we come back, we'll have Drew Hill, who's the head volleyball coach at East Central.
Hey, Tulsa, we have a crushing recycle play of the day for you. Team Johnson versus paper and cardboard.
They're starting off slow today, probably trying to figure out what to do with those styrofoam plates, since they're not recyclable.
There's the big play we were waiting for. Boom! Completely empty cardboard boxes dunked in the cart. Score big by recycling your cardboard and paper. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. So now we have the head volleyball coach of the East Central Cardinals, Drew Hill. Drew, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Drew, how long have you been at East Central?
I've been there for 15 years.
15 years.
14 years as the head volleyball coach. So.
Really?
Yes,
so
sir.
you've had a lot of kids come through your program?
Lots of kids, yes, sir.
That's really great. I think that people don't realize what athletics does as far as keeping kids involved and engaged in education.
Yep.
But they're making a lifetime of friends.
For sure.
Some of those kids will be friends forever.
Yep.
Because of what they learned in volleyball in school. But we've often said you can remember your volleyball coach, you may not remember your English teacher.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But
that's true.
That's one of the things that you have to look at. So as you look at your team this year, talk a little bit about your past with them, and then where you think this group will fill.
This group is another really young team, as we were last year. So a lot of the freshman girls that had to play a lot of varsity last year are now sophomores. So we're still going to be really young, still kind of rebuilding for them to get to juniors and seniors. They're not going to be, where I still got a girl playing at Mid-America Christian University, and she's doing her COVID year. Her name's Faith Fouch. She led the conference in aces last year. So I don't quite have any of those girls yet, but I'm hoping by the time they're seniors they can get up there. Serenity Nelson is one of my better players, and Cheetah. They're two sophomores, and they're smaller, but they're good players. And I have a couple injuries too. ACLs. One of my libero tore ACL during soccer season, and so that's kind of a tough one. So we're kind of rebuilding this year, but hopefully as the season goes, we'll progress.
How are your numbers?
Numbers, I've got 20 on the roster. But coming to practice, it's been a little iffy. So I'm hoping when school starts, I can recruit a few more to come out.
People don't realize in an urban setting, it's difficult because kids live all over the district.
They do.
If you're 10 miles away and don't have transportation,
yep,
it's hard to get there. The people don't
it's tough.
fathom that. I think that's one of the things that is a challenge with urban athletics.
It is, especially volleyball, just because it starts so
early. Yeah, July. Yeah,
I have a game today.
Right.
I play McAllister today, so.
Yeah, here or there?
At McAllister.
At McAllister.
Yep, we're going to their new gym today.
Well, that's 90 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's one of my coaching jobs. I was the head football coach
Right.
at Cal State one time. So they have a new gym.
They have a brand new gym.
Oh,
I guess
do they
we'll
really?
probably open it today. They played up here in Sepulpa yesterday, so it'll probably be their first game in the new gym
Oh,
today.
yeah. Well, good. Well, you'll be able to christen that.
Yeah.
For them. That'd be great. As you look at your you said you had some returning starters that are younger kids. Who are some of the teams that you're going to need to compete with to be able to get to the deep into the playoffs?
Well, you know, it's always fun. Me and Audra that you were talking with earlier, like me and her are really good friends, and I always like to beat her. It may not happen this year, but I would like to compete with her, obviously, because we always have like a pretty good little rivalry between us because our teams are usually pretty equal. So I'm always kind of use her team because I respect her as a coach and try to use her team as a baseline. If we can compete with them, then we're making progress.
Who is your rival in town?
Really, honestly, for volleyball, it's probably a Memorial.
I
Yeah,
see.
because like we've had some 5-set matches with them, and we've gone back and forth. She'll beat me one night, and then the next night we'll beat them, and it's probably Memorial. Yeah, and it's probably because me and her are really good friends.
Yeah, you bet. How is the new facility?
Love it. Yeah, it's really good. Enjoying it. We got a locker room and stuff now. We got a training room and all that stuff. So it's definitely nice. The girls definitely like having their own space and all that. So
It kind of fills with that field of dreams. You build it, and they will.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
That's a great thing. Well, as you look at the future of your program, how do you feel about that?
Well, because we are so young, I'm feeling good. I mean, our 4, I think I'm only going to have one senior this year, and she's playing libero. She wouldn't be the libero if my other one was hurt, but she's going to be the libero this year. So I will only have one senior. The other senior is an ACL injury, and so I'll have 5 returning starters next year. So I feel pretty good about that.
That'd be good, yeah.
Yeah, and and it's a good group, and they're athletic. So that'll be good going into next year as I have that group return.
Your senior with the ACL, no way to get back this.
No,
fall.
she just had surgery
She
in the summer, I think. Yeah.
No, it's a 4 to 6 months
At least.
ACL.
Yep.
Yeah, it really is. You got to do that.
And she's tall too, and we don't have a lot of tall people, so
that's too bad. Well, Drew, good luck.
Well, thank you.
Hope you have a good year. We'll have you back hopefully during the season sometime.
For sure.
And hope you can get through the playoffs and get some of those young kids some experience.
Yep, for sure.
When we come back, we're going to have Steve Friebus, our sports medicine coordinator.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
I feel like athletics is so important at Tulsa Central because it's an outlet for some of our kids there. They get a better opportunity to basically give back to our community.
At McLean, the sports is what mainly drives a bunch of the students to come to school every single day and work hard because they want to be able to come from the classroom to the field or the court and show at what they're good at.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. And now we have Steve Friebus, the sports medicine coordinator for the Tulsa Public Schools. And Steve, hectic start. Down 2 trainers. The NCAA is wiping us out, I think, and so on. But how long have you been TPS?
This is starting my 12th year.
12th
It's
year.
it's amazing that it's gone so fast. I mean, it just
Isn't
seems
that
like
something?
yesterday that I started here, and the changes that have taken place in that 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, just across board in athletics has just been tremendous.
It has been. I think that where this district is, and there's been some people alluding to how we compare to Oklahoma City and other areas. but athletically, there's no comparison.
No, there's not, and we're definitely, making strides forward. We're trying to be on the cutting edge of everything we do, especially when it comes to health and safety of our student athletes.
Yeah, there's no question there. So as we get into the fall season, boy, this has been a really difficult one. Probably the past 2 weeks. We've got a little relief, it looks like, for the next 2 weeks. But boy, that 102 with the heat index of 114 is tough.
Yeah, and we were out there measuring it last week. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, and the turf was at 130 degrees up at Booker T. And the heat index and the sun radiation. It was saying we're using one of these little devices here that measures heat, the wind speed, humidity, and the solar radiation on the bulb. And so this kind of, think about something like a softball catcher's helmet or an umpire or a football player, and this was reading at 127 degrees.
Gee,
so
yeah.
it factors all that. So when you hear the heat index on TV, all that is the heat taken in the shade and humidity. But we all know that, if you're standing in the sun, that makes a difference. And if there's a breeze, that makes a difference. So we're trying to factor it all in. And then we use the National Athletic Trainers Association guidelines to dictate how long practice could be, how many breaks per hour we're to have, and what clothing can be worn, like during conditioning. Do we take the helmet and shoulder pads off? So again, we're trying to really make it safe for our student athletes that are out there.
Well, let's take a look at that chart and go through that a little bit. I think that'll come up on the screen here, and where people can take a look at it. So let's go through the green down through the green.
And when people see that it's a value of 82, that wet bulb globe temperature index, or 82, 87, 90, or 92, it's not just a straight temperature. It's a factor, it's a formula. And so under the green, it's normal practice, unrestricted. Just make sure you're having your water breaks, at least 3 an hour. At yellow, we're using a little more discretion, asking that at least, again, 3 separate rest breaks for a minimum duration of at least 4 minutes each. You get to the orange, now we're limiting practice to 2 hours outside. So, they might go an hour and a half outside. They may have another hour indoors where they're lifting weights or doing calisthenics or something like that. When you get to the red, now it's down to a 1 hour practice, of which of that hour, 20 minutes has to be rest breaks. So how you break, you go 10 on, 5 off, something like that. And then when it gets to the black zone, it's saying no outdoor workouts. Plan for a different time, either early in the morning or late in the evening.
Oh, as we come back from the form, how does that relate to game day?
Now, game days is a little different. Because we're mandated by the OSSA that we have to play those games. But usually before the game, you meet with the officials. And if it's really hot, we've done this in soccer. I know we've done it in football, where periodically, maybe every 15 minutes or so, we just take, it's not a charge timeout to anybody. We just take a cooling
Weather
break.
timeout,
and we're going to do a 2 or 3 minutes. Everybody gets to get some water, put some ice towels on, try to cool them down, and really monitor what's happening. And then, of course, coaches are subbing people in much more frequently so people can get breaks.
Do we use ice baths and things like that?
Oh yeah. And we have, some schools have the tanks on the sidelines. Others we have, it's called a polar pod, and it's just kind of like a big giant vinyl sleeping bag. Because depending on our venues, we may not have ice or water nearby, but we always have the coolers. And so we can just put them in this vinyl bag and then just dump the cold water on top of them, call 911, and then monitor their condition and then transport if necessary.
Well, right now, as we indicated earlier, you're running 2 trainers short.
Right.
Are you being able to cover everything?
We're doing our best. Again, it's also informing the coaches what the parameters or the weather is going to be that afternoon. Take extra precautions, making sure their emergency action plans are up to date. They know what they are and who's in charge of what thing to do. Who's calling, who's tending to the athlete, who's opening gates, who's directing EMSA into that venue. So it takes a lot of organization, but it will pay off.
Sure. Yeah. Anytime you have any of that, I noticed I was watching the Little League World Series over the weekend, and they had somebody go down in the stands because it was so hot down in Waco, and they cleared the field and had all that. You're incumbent on not only the participants on the field, but everybody in the stadium.
Yeah, it's happened on numerous occasions that we'll get a call for a fan that is not feeling really well. They're sitting on hot metal bleachers
Right.
in the sun, and or at a softball game behind the dugout, kind of not a lot of movement of air.
Right.
So yeah, we got to be careful. And coaches are not immune to heat illness as well. So we tell
Exactly.
them, make sure you're drinking water at the timeouts.
Well, good luck.
Yep.
I hope you make it through this fall season and it gets a little bit cooler.
Yep.
And we'll get jackets on.
Exactly.
And we'll have you back, I'm sure, during the year. When we come back, we'll have Marlon Houston, Assistant Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against a tough competitor, plastic.
Don't trust those numbers on the bottom. You have to stick to what you know. Only bottles and jugs found in the kitchen, bath, or laundry. They're quick to pick up. And empty those bottles before sinking that shot.
Always empty your bottles before recycling. Score big by recycling your plastic bottles and jugs. Learn more at tulsarecycles.com.
I love Will Rogers Athletics because it helped me physically, spiritually, and emotionally through all the journeys I've been through at that school. All of the support staff helped me a lot, and it's just an amazing school.
Athletics at Will Rogers changed my life because it became a second family. With the support of my coaches and teammates, it's helped me gain confidence, work as a team, and will help me in college and in life.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. And now we have Marlon Houston, Assistant Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, who happens to supervise the sport of volleyball. We've had all the volleyball coaches on today, Marlon, or a lot of them, not
Yes.
all of them. We had a lot of them. And so we kind of have that volleyball feel. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the emergence of volleyball. There's some teams that are pretty talented. Some teams are struggling for numbers. Let's talk a little bit about that and why you think that is.
Well, different high schools, different cultures, and just like some schools are known for baseball, some schools are known for basketball. Sometimes you run into that also on the volleyball side. But one thing I will say that our coaches are really doing a good job this year is starting ahead of time. We start July 15th, and I made sure myself that I really pushed early that, hey, July 15th will get here sooner than you know it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had those changes. Also some good changes is, we have a couple of our schools that have went down a class. Hale will be going to 4A and Booker T will be going to 5A. So those will be some big changes. They're not in districts, so they can still keep the current schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So it will just be the post play that will make the change for us.
Makes a difference. The level of competition and so on. It should help both those schools.
Both those schools, it
down.
should definitely help them. And so now, where we had all of our schools, most of our schools was in 5A. Now you get one drop down to 4A and one coming down to 5A from 6A.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, that'd be good. As you look at the growth of the program and the stability of the program, how's the general middle school programs look?
Well, I think it's on the high school side, the numbers are better, and I think because of our middle school programs, the numbers have increased on our middle school side. So looking at our middle school, that's one of the things when school starts that first day, we really push to recruit for some of the schools that need to build their rosters. All 10 middle schools have volleyball, and right now I would say 4 out of the 10 have really healthy rosters, and the other ones, on the middle school level, lots of times you don't get a lot of your students or get to get in contact with them until that first day of school. And
Mm-hmm.
same way with, kind of like football. Some programs can start early, and then some programs you're out in the parking lot that first day of school, making sure you get all your
Right.
kids signed up.
Right. Well, as you look at that, the varsity programs, probably one of the highlights for our schools is the All City. Now, when is that?
All City will be the 8th and 9th September. And that will be at Edison High School.
Oh, I see.
We'll host All City, and that's a really exciting time for us to get together and right in the middle of the season.
You know, it is. I always felt that the All City concept was so important. My first touch of the All City concept was as a junior football player at Tulsa Rogers. I'd moved from Kentucky my junior year, where basketball is king, obviously. Matter of fact, we played 5 of our home games on Friday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Now, we had a great crowd for the first half because the kids could buy a ticket to get out of school.
Student body, yes.
Yeah, but so I come to Oklahoma, and the All City was being played at then called Skelly Stadium. And I walk in there, and there's 25,000 people for the All City.
Oh, my.
I said, I thought you said this was a scrimmage. Well, it was. But I thought that concept, and we've lost that a little bit, I think, through the years with that. But it's good for our schools to get together like that.
Yes.
Now, we have a middle school championship. Now, that's...
Yeah, we put a middle school schedule together, and we have a middle school championship, and that's in October, the first week in October, I believe, 4th, 5th.
4th and 5th,
Yep.
yes.
October 4th and 5th, right after the season will end on the 2nd. And then we'll have that in the season tournament, 4th and 5th. And we'll have 7th grade division and 8th grade division.
Oh, excellent.
And that's one good thing that we started, is having two divisions where we could have it. So we for sure have all 10 8th grade, and hopefully our goal is to have all 10 7th grade divisions.
Well, you know, the level of competition is, there's a lot of difference between a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Definitely.
You know, there's certain, so it's good to have those divisions for those kids. Well, Marlon, good luck this year with volleyball and everything else that you're involved in. And hopefully we'll have you back sometime in October, and we'll talk about how the volleyball season went.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you so much.
When we come back, we'll have Krystel Markwardt, who is the Deputy Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools.
Hey, Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Edison High School has taught me to work as a team rather than as an individual. Whenever you're on a team, you have a special bond with each other. You know you can rely on them in a time of need, whether on or off the court. Whether it be a shoulder to cry on or advice on how you can improve, you know your team will always be there for you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have Krystel Markwardt, the Deputy Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. Krystel, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
New position, new year. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about how long you've been at TPS.
This is my 10th year in TPS. I was at Rogers for the 8 previous years. Started out as just a classroom teacher. I'd gotten my administrator's license and decided to come to Tulsa. Quit coaching and wanted to go the administrator route, and that was short-lived. Half a year later, I got into the athletic department and stayed in, I started with the middle school athletics as the athletic director at Rogers, and then when Jen Sanders moved to the service center, I took over that head job there at Rogers. So it's been fun.
What do you think about athletic administration?
I love it. I mean, it's a way for me to keep sports and athletics in my everyday. It's a job where I don't feel like I'm going to work every day. I'm going to do something that I really love to do. So
you have a great opportunity to help a lot of kids too.
Yes.
That was one of the downside, I think, is you don't have as many close relationships with the student athletes as you do when you're coaching them on a day-to-day basis. But you have more of an impact over a greater number of them, because every day the program, I used to, when I would coach, I said, well, get to the off season. Well, athletic director doesn't have any off season.
No,
You
there
go
is
from
no off season.
one season to the next.
You're on a doctor's schedule.
all the time, 24/7.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
right.
You're always called. So as you get into this first year, what are some of your responsibilities?
Well, I'll be over compliance. So OSSAA, I'll be that connection between the athletic directors at the sites and OSSAA for hardships and that kind of thing, making sure our students are eligible to participate. And if not, going through that process, making sure that our coaches are in compliance with all the OSSAA rules. And I'm also over the academic eligibility and the adjunct and volunteer coaching. Getting those people through and getting them hired. So.
Well, that's good. That's a big job.
Yes.
Compliance in itself is a big job.
Yes.
I heard my old friend Pat Jones say one time here about 3 years ago when the NIL came about and the transfer portal was just whipping up, and he said, the worst job on a college campus today is the compliance officer. Because
absolutely,
you got to figure out what rules are we going by this week.
Well, yeah, they change every week.
And now, of course, we have NII for high school. So it's it is an ongoing thing with as transient as the population seems to be with transfers and so on. To have a valid transfer and so on, you have to do the background check on that and everything.
Absolutely, it's been. I've been there for 2 months now, and June was a little bit slow, and July not so much. We've had a lot of transfer paperwork come through, and just kids, moving to the virtual learning and that kind of thing. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve for me just to see the other side of things, but I love it. I really like where I'm at.
It's interesting. People think that if you work at the Education Service Center in athletics, you don't have anything to do.
I used to think all you did was play golf, but that's not the case.
No, it is a lot different than if you do the job right.
That's right.
If you do the job right.
That's right.
As you look at getting into this first year, what are some of the things that you would like to try to accomplish?
I talked to Mick when I decided to come over here and wanted to make sure that, my biggest reason or hesitation for coming over was that relationship with kids that I had, and just having the kids come by the office every day. That was a big part of, keeping you there every day and having you show up. So that was a big hesitation. So one of the things I wanted to do is make sure that I could go out and help site ADs more at their place and be on campus. And after the first couple of months getting compliance stuff ready to go, that's really what I want to do. I want to focus on helping and being a resource for our site ADs. Because sometimes it does get lonely out there, and you think that you're doing everything by yourself. So I really want to be that resource for those ADs and get out in the schools so I can have that relationship.
I think that's really, really important. That was one of the things that was one of my priorities is to make sure I was in the schools every week. Just to drop by, how you doing? How's everything? You need some help.
Right.
I think those are things that, as you said, because in the high school there's one AD.
That's it.
You're by yourself.
Yes.
And sometimes you're literally by yourself, and
it's a lot.
Can't get that help that you need sometimes. So I think that's as a coach, you coach the kids. As an athletic director, you coach the coaches.
That's right.
And I think it's important. Well, I'm glad that I think you made the move. I think it was a good move for you.
I do too. It was time. I think it was time for something new, and I'm competitive, obviously, just like a coach should be. And so I'm wanting to figure out this job every day, trying to learn something new. So I'm excited.
Well, there'll be something new every day.
Absolutely. Every day there's something going on.
Krystel, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we'll have Mick Wilson, who is the Executive Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is looking to defend their title against aluminum and steel cans.
Bob, most people think of the kitchen for this opponent, but aluminum and steel cans, like empty shaving cream cans, also play extremely well in bathrooms all over Tulsa. That was nothing but bin, Bob.
Wow, right into the bin. Team Johnson has buttoned up another win. Score big by recycling your aluminum and steel cans. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hales means that you have to be consistent, outgoing, and be dedicated because because students at Nathan Hale look up to the football team.
Being an athlete at Nathan Hale has taught me to be confident and disciplined and always to be open-minded and always ready to work with people no matter how difficult it is.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics. Now we have Mick Wilson, the Executive Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. Mick, welcome to the first show of the year. Started out a new school year, academic year, athletic year, and a lot of things going on. So how do you look at, as you evaluate over the summer and get ready to start 23-24, how do you evaluate where the program is today?
Well, Gil, I think it's a crazy busy time. We've been really, this year, probably more turnover than we've had with retirements and with folks leaving the district and trying to replace coaches, and in this case, 3 new high school athletic directors district-wide. So it's been a time where we need to make sure that we lean in with our buildings and really help support them and their needs. And I think we're in good shape trying to support those folks and help hire folks, hire good head coaches. And it's been a good time. And our building principals have been working hard, doing a good job of trying to help us fill those needs.
That's good. There's always transition. It seems like I'd always go to the Oklahoma Coaches Convention and just hated to come back to my office and see a certified letter on my desk that somebody had resigned over the summer.
Well, I think we had most of ours early on, and so I feel like we've got some good people in place. And again, with 3 new athletic directors on the high school level, really those people have come into our office and been asking questions and really been real receptive to our needs and what we need to do district-wide. And so I think with that, again, having some new coaches in place, I think we're in a good spot.
Good. As always, there are changes at the state level. The OSSAA, what are some of the new things we need to look for there?
Well, I think the big thing is, I served the last year and a half on the Rule 14 committee, and as we're really starting the public-private new year of addressing that situation, we're seeing some changes district-wide. Probably the biggest change with that was Hale being pushed down from 5A to 4A, and then again seeing some of the local high schools go up to 6A in private, with Bishop Kelly going up to 6A baseball, and then Booker T coming back down in 5A baseball is big. Probably the biggest thing is the change is going to basketball districts. Really, as we've seen in 5A and 6A now, the conferences are kind of being, I wouldn't say dismantled, but really there's not going to be conferences in basketball now in 5A and 6A. And so again, some of our district schools playing one another, some of the rival games will no longer be, because they'll be tied up with home and home games in district. And then following that format in basketball, you're going to see now that along with football, whereas maybe your number 1 team in one district would play the number 8 team in an opposing district in basketball. So that's been a big change, Gil. We'll lose some of the rivalry games, but I think what you're going to see now is probably more parity in basketball. And I think the big thing that we talked about was not having all of our schools being in one district, being able to separate them so that we see having more opportunities to compete for a state championship and make a further run in the playoffs through districts. And I think that's going to be a good opportunity for our schools.
It's amazing the trickle-down effect from college athletics with all the conference realignment. And we're talking about literally it does do away with the basketball conference. And if you don't have a conference championship in those individual sports, that's basically it. And a junior high schedule. A lot of people look at their high school conference as a maker for their junior high schedule as well, having the same schools in there. And so it's going to be, that's going to be an interesting take.
Well, some of the 5A outliers are now going to be regular season opponents with us.
Right.
I mean, your Coetas, your Tahlequahs, your Priors are going to now have to compete night in and night out against the Booker T, Washington, the Edison,
Durant,
Rogers.
McAllister,
Sure, they're going to get a more regular season flavor of what we've had all along, and so I think that'll be a bigger adjustment for them than for us.
So
they're going to see that the competition is going to be a little tougher than being able to, especially when they could control who they play non-conference. Well, now that's all gone away. So
they'll look at every Tuesday and Friday as a war.
Absolutely, and so not to demean what they've done in the past, but it'll be a different flavor of competition, and probably a step up than what you've seen during weeknights, as opposed to what you see in the postseason.
No question. Where are we on facility upgrades?
Well, we're plugging away, moving fast. Obviously, trying to get some things done in the high school at Hale had slowed us down on the beginning of our practice gym that will kick off soon, and our indoor soccer facility. We're moving fast at Rogers, trying to get the bleachers in on the visiting side so that we can complete that stadium upgrade. So moving fast and furious, but hopefully we'll be able to get things in place here for school and for the start of athletic seasons.
Well, that's good. It's always, you're right at the edge. It seems like school's starting and we got people walking in the stadium and we're still sweeping out.
Absolutely.
But that's how it is. Well, Mick, thanks for being here today. Good luck. Hope you have a great year. And I'm sure we'll have you back many times.
Thanks to you, Gil, and thanks to our viewers for all their support. We really appreciate all that they do for Tulsa Public Schools.
Our patrons have supported our programs through bond issues as well as our attendance, and we certainly do appreciate them.
We do.
We'll be back with the closing message in just a moment.
Hey Tulsa, welcome back to the top recycling play of the day. Team Johnson is facing off against one tough competitor, glass.
That's right. Only glass bottles and jars are recyclable. Don't even think about sinking a drink in glass or mirror. Always good to empty your glass bottles and jars before recycling.
These two get it, emptying both bottles from far out, and they remove the lids. Score big by recycling your glass bottles and jars. Learn more at TulsaRecycles.com.
Being an athlete at Booker T. Washington has taught me to carry myself with class as an athlete, student, and friend, and to have responsibility on and off the field, and that it's the littlest things that will make all the difference in the long run.
Being an athlete at Memorial High School has taught me to be a better person, because when you play sports, attitude is the main thing you have to deal with, not just your own, but other people's. It also teaches you to be the bigger person.
We hope you enjoyed today's show featuring our volleyball programs from Memorial, Booker T, East Central. We also have updates from the District Athletic Administration about work being done district-wide by the athletic staff. Raymond Ships was here as the Director of Athletics for the Edison Eagles. Steve Friebus talked about our weather conditions and precautions for early season practice. Krystel Markwardt, the newest member of the District Athletic Administration staff, tell us about her areas of supervision and things that she wanted to accomplish. Mick Wilson, the Executive Director of Athletics, joined us to give an overview of the athletics program and where we were with facilities and an update on the OSSAA. As we enter the 23-24 season, we thank you for your support of our student athletes and our programs. We'll see you again in 3 weeks, and we'll have another episode of Inside Tulsa Athletics.